100 years ago, Max Weber, the sociologist, had a warning for us all. Be aware, he said, of the coming iron cage of rationality, a world in which we become increasingly calculated and controlled in our interactions. The support that libraries have in our communities shows that we profoundly believe in a much richer model, a culture that values diversity, imagination, and exploration. Andrew Carnegie understood this in the 1880s. One of the richest men of his age, Carnegie donated tens of millions of his dollars to building 2,000 public libraries across the country, many of which still exist today. Carnegie believed that public libraries were a powerful force, instruments for personal growth and change, social necessities, as vital as police, fire stations, hospitals, and public schools. I personally cannot remember a time clearly before I was reading. But there was some disconnect in my brain when it came to writing. Reading came naturally. Writing was a struggle. I could not seem to line up the letters correctly to form words. For instance, the word peacock might cause a clear image in my mind of the bird in our neighbor's garden. It was a feeling of summer, delight, joy. It wasn't the dry formation of letters on a page. When I arrived at school, my problems really started to happen. As I read so well, my teachers interpreted my struggle with symbols and letters as behavioral, and I was labeled as lazy and very rebellious. In the 1950s, no one had heard of, nor would they have been able to diagnose dyslexia. As I flailed around and my self-esteem crashed, my mind came up with new and different quirks. I couldn't tell left from right. I couldn't read a clock or a calendar. I had trouble remembering simple words, and sometimes names would evade me. I grew more inward and silent, and lo and behold, I started to live up to the labels that I was given. Reading was my escape. I delighted in the books that I chose. They helped me make sense of a dark and sometimes mystifying world. Libraries were my place, a lifeline and a refuge. In libraries, I could solve weighty problems with world leaders. I could live the life of Anne Boleyn or Jane Eyre. I could visit the Antarctic or the planet Arrakis. The possibilities were endless. Books and reading gave me a sense of our shared inner world. They gave me hope and resilience in my difficult school years. Thank you to Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, and Tigger for teaching me love and compassion. Wind in the Willows for the importance of friends and sometimes how to get along with difficult neighbors. Dr. Seuss for how mumble-jumble words can also be great poetry. Fast forward through the years, and I was the children's librarian in Kremling, which is a town north of Silverthorne. It was a time when Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings and his dark materials first arrived on the scene, and people's imaginations were on fire. I was tall, grey-haired, and spoke with a marked English accent. It was no surprise to anybody that I was obviously Gandalf's better half and the witch in the library. If you're given a role, use it. So, as a librarian, I would watch the doors open every day and the world would walk in. And I would see lives blossom and change. Families and children would come to preschool story hour and form friendship bonds that would last through high school and beyond. Children would gallop down to the library after school to check out more books and share their latest read with the librarian. The library was also a quiet place where everyone was welcome to use the internet, study, and children had a safe place to be if their parents were late home from work. Social isolation and lack of resources is a real problem for many, many families. The library is unique in that it offers the resources, the tools, the information, and the inspiration. The rest is pure alchemy. When COVID hit our mountain town, as everywhere, life as we know it closed down, and those easy social interactions that happen in the library, the grocery store, at concerts and local events came to an abrupt halt as everyone self-isolated. The libraries in Colorado did not stop for a moment. We rolled up our sleeves and changed our operations rapidly to meet this new need. We moved from offering programs and services in our buildings to online. We encouraged people to download ebooks, audiobooks, to learn a language online. Money was tight for many, and we gave them downloadable movies. Parents were homeschooling, and we gave them quality educational resources, STEM activities, reading support, and courses for adults and children. Accessibility and convenience are important, but they do not tell all the human needs. Libraries are unique in that they are a meeting place where neighbors, friends, and community can show up and be in whatever way they choose. In Summit County, we worked hard to maintain these vital social connections. We would ring up our patrons, and my heart broke open when I heard that sometimes we were the only connection that they had had with another human in a week. There evolved a very vigorous online local community of library users who would meet in book groups, preschool story hours, summer reading programs, crafting groups, and the famous trivia competition, which met weekly and became more and more competitive. In fact, it carried on after the COVID lifted because people loved it so much. So I think Carnegie would have been very pleased to see how his libraries stepped up at this difficult time and helped their communities out. High in the mountains of Colorado, here in Summit County, we are planning for the future. We are currently engaged in an ambitious building project for our libraries. In 2015, we built in Breckenridge a beautiful new library with the support of the county, the town of Breckenridge, enthusiastic locals, nonprofits, and other organizations on the site of the old 1909 high school and gymnasium. It really is an amazing blend of that turn of the century architectural vision with 21st century vision and needs. In Silverthorne and Frisco, we are engaged in enlarging and expanding our two libraries, so there will be more meeting rooms, places to study, places to read quietly or meet with friends. There will be outdoor spaces and windows that frame the beauty of our natural environment, our mountaintops and streams. Unlike Weber, who sees our future as a narrowing stream of constraints, my hope for the future is that we can lean into and embrace our differences. Personal growth, creativity, and great writing happen when we accept our uniqueness. My dyslexia retreated when I relaxed and accepted the quirkiness of my brain, and I laugh sometimes when it will reemerge in all its old force and fury and surprise me. Maya Angelou said, "The mission in my life is not just to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. To make this mission a possibility for us all, we need the magic of libraries."